Pray for a swift death.
Welcome back to the channel, everyone. Today we're going to talk about EVO, Tekken 8, and Harada's bar. There's so much hype, anticipation, and also tension. I feel it. In the latest episode on Harada's bar, he kind of discusses all of these things. The video title is Who Will Win EVO? This is part 2. Part 1 I already discussed. It was about Geese and Akuma and why Harada needed those characters in Tekken 7. It was really cool what he said about Geese and Akuma, and this part 2, it kind of followed the same format. The first half was focused on who they thought would win EVO. Of course, everyone immediately think Knee and Arslan Ash. If it's not one of those two, it's going to be a major upset. Kind of how Rangchu did back in 2018. Either way, I'm all for it. Once you reach the halfway mark in this video, it shifts. They start talking about announcements at EVO 2022. Someone asked me on my live stream, life or death? If I had to say whether or not Tekken 8 will be announced at EVO, I say no. And the reasons that I gave is some of the same reasons that Harada addresses in this video. So we're going to go play by play, and I'm just going to read all of the screenshots that I found to be important. I have other examples that sort of backs up these claims, but also ones that show how things went so wrong, because Tekken 7's over, it's done for. But Tekken 8 could very easily go down the same path of Tekken 7. By that I mean, it probably will be super successful, but will it be riddled with problems? Powerful characters everywhere, you have cheats, you have bugs. Yo! We cannot let that happen to Tekken 8. Before I read these screenshots, subscribe to the channel. We're trying to hit 4K, and also share this video. If you know someone who's also anticipating announcements, maybe they should hear this. The first set of screenshots starts with Blue Shirt talking. Blue Shirt says, another reason for us was that rollback became mandatory at launch. The reason why I want to start off with this is because I know a lot of people talk about Netcode and will it be good in Tekken 8, and the fact that Odo understands that good netcode is mandatory, Harada understands this too. There's no way that Tekken 8 is going to release with bad netcode. Now, whether or not the netcode deteriorate like Season 4 did, that's a different story. But Odo is saying not only did the pandemic delay Street Fighter 6 announcement, but also they delayed it themselves to make sure the netcode was up to par. Then that's when they showed the announcements at EVO 2022 screen. I'll ask the big question here. Odo, will King of Fighters at EVO, will there be anything? Yeah, we're preparing something. King of Fighters 15, they will show something. Characters, trailers, something. Now, Harada butts in. Odo, isn't this different from how EVO used to be? We got pressure, don't you think? I can tell there's some tension, but I feel like this time is a little better than before. Do you think it's harder to just go and attend tournaments these days? This is what Harada is saying to Blue Shirt. Harada says, because if you go, you'll get seen and someone snaps a photo and they're like, Odo is here. Does that mean Harada is here? Does that mean? That's why I couldn't go to Combo Breaker this year. I was actually going to go with Michael. Everyone stopped me and said, Harada, we don't think you should go. I asked why. I mean, I get it because people will think I'm going to announce something on stage. So I decided not to go. It's harder to just attend now. This part here, what Harada is talking about, I kind of feel like it's their own fault. It's known throughout the community. The only time the developers talk to us or show up at events is when it's time to either try to sell something or try to announce something.
You know, we've had no information on Tekken for over a year now, and it kind of reinforces this vibe that Bandai Namco are only interested in talking to us and pretending to be our friends when they have something new that they want to sell us, but then they kind of turn into smoke and float into the ether, and we are left on the outside wondering what is going on.
The only time they ever gone to a tournament in America or EU during the whole lifespan of Tekken 7 was when they were announcing something. So it's kind of like if you have a dog and the only time you interact with your dog is when you're feeding it, and then all of a sudden you go to play with your dog and your dog's like, where's the food? It's like you've trained the community to react this way. If they see you at a tournament, they assume announcements because that's what you did for the whole entire lifespan of Tekken. And if we use Combo Breaker as an example, first off, Michael Murray said that he wasn't going. And then he showed up there. He's kind of incognito, walking around with Markman. Someone spots him.
Whoa! Michael! Michael! Michael's here, everybody! Let's go! Surprise! What?
The problem with the developers is it's mixed messaging. Gerlanda says, seeing Michael Murray at the venue makes me feel something's going to be announced tonight. Michael Murray says, can't a man just enjoy some good offline Tekken? And then a few hours later, he gets up on stage and announces the Tekken World Tour. So it's like that kind of mixed messaging is what leads the community to always expect something. Even when you say you're not announcing something, when you turn around and get up on stage, it just causes that confusion. I know all of you guys are going to be wondering, how does this factor into Tekken 8, and where in here does Harada say he's not going to announce it at EVO? And that part is coming up. Black Shirt says, in that case, will you two be going to EVO this year? Blue Shirt says, still don't know yet. Harada says, so Tekken has their Topaganga League, right? They always wonder, will Harada come? Then when Yasuda Esports comes out. If you guys don't know who Yasuda Esports is, that's like the third guy in charge. It goes Harada, Michael Murray, and then Yasuda. He always says, I come out so you know there's no announcements. He says, that's because we want someone who has no expectations attached. We don't want people to be expecting anything. So that means if Yasuda doesn't come out and you do, there's an announcement. So this part is kind of interesting because I get a lot of flack for like dissecting what the developers do, like, oh, Harada didn't do this, and oh, he did this, so that means this. But you can see they're doing the exact same thing here. Like, when I be analyzing the past and trying to predict their actions in the future, you can see here that that's how they operate. Harada's saying that he brings people with no expectations to lower expectations. But then when he wants to raise them, he go by himself and he puts on this big bravado, this big show. Tekken 7 has followed a cycle for the longest time, and I can't be the only one who sees it, right? Black Shirt says, so that means if Yasuda doesn't come out and you do, there's an announcement talking about EVO. That's why I'm thinking of bringing Yasuda to EVO, Harada says. There could be no announcements. This is the most important part right here. We'd like to do what fans expect at the expected time, but it's hard. The reason for that is we need to try and read between the lines. I mean, from an industry perspective, when a company announces something at a certain time, we should avoid running into each other with announcements. There's a balance to consider. So we need to read between the lines. What is that supposed to mean? It's kind of on you to explain that. I'm not sure what that translation's saying. There's that kind of circumstance. This EVO, maybe I'll just announce Tekken 4 remake or something. I think that'll really set some people off. Please don't make remake 4. That would trigger people so hard. 90% of the people will be like, huh? And then the remaining small percentage will go, yeah. This is kind of interesting because if you pay attention to what he's saying, he's basically talking about Street Fighter 6 and not wanting to crush them. This is possibly the biggest thing that Harada said this year. I have the screenshots. I went back and found them, but it all started with this. We always are careful not to overlap release dates, you know? We try not to release the same time of the same year. We do not want to crush each other. That is what Harada said when asked if he'll release a new Tekken game the same time as Street Fighter 6, and seeing him echoing that same sentiment, that same statement all these months later tells me Tekken 8's not going to be there. Street Fighter 6 already said that they will be there. You have Project L going to be there. You have King of Fighters. Harada is like, we'll do next time. We'll let them have this, and next time will be ours. And I've kind of gone back and forth on, okay, I understand. I want to compete with Street Fighter 6 either. Then in another video, I was like, no, compete. What are you doing? Like, fight them. This is Tekken. But now I'm kind of like in the middle. I don't really know if competing would be the right thing to do, but I also don't know if not competing would be the right thing to do, because Tekken is falling hard, Tekken is going downhill. The biggest question I have is, if you're not going to announce Tekken 8, right? You knew this since February, March is when Street Fighter 6 got announced. You knew even before then, because Capcom would have told you. Why have you not updated Tekken 7 then? If you don't want to announce your next big project, why is Tekken 7 a disaster? That is the biggest question I wish I can ask Harada, because I'm not really upset that Tekken 8 isn't coming. Yes, I'm a diehard fan who wants that game. But if it's going to be delayed, fine. But the problem is, why did you abandon Tekken 7 then?
We've had no information on Tekken for over a year now. And
in conclusion, it looks like they're going to be skipping EVO. I'm not expecting Harada to get up on stage at all. I would be surprised if he's even there. Just looking at what he's saying and how hesitant he is to even show up, I'm wondering if he'll even be there. And at the same time, what they should do in the future, because this can be avoidable, what they should do in the future is just interact more with their community. If Harada's always hanging out and if he's always at tournaments, then he's always there. But when you only show up to announce the Tekken World Tour, a new character, whatever project you guys are working on, when you only show up for these specific moments, when EVO comes around, if you're there, people are going to expect something, right? Because of course, everyone wants to be at EVO.
It's really it's unheard of. It's never happened in the history of competitive Tekken. Someone to come out of nowhere, Pakistan, and dominate the entire Korean, Japanese, European, and North American scene.
Oh man, I'm loving it. And you guys, there's over 200,000 people watching right now, and this is of course record numbers for this game, and I can't
Look at
believe.
this. Oh my God. Thank you so much everybody for joining us, but we're gonna need your help if Nee is to stay alive here. He's getting blown out.
It's like if Nee goes to EVO, everyone's going to assume he's competing. And that's because Nee has been competing in Tekken tournaments for like 10, 15 years. The same thing goes for Harada and Michael Murray. I'm interested to see you guys' reaction to this. I love reading the comments because not only do you guys highlight things that I miss, but also I think you guys are really good at adding new meaning to some of the things that Harada say. I can't really say whether it's the right or wrong thing to do. Only time will tell. Once Street Fighter 6 comes out, we'll see how big that game is. Once Tekken 8 comes out, we'll see how big that game is. And then we'll be able to see whether or not it was a good or bad idea. But by that time, it's like, would it even matter, You have super big games like Multiverses, Project L, Guilty Gear Strive. It seems like every time a fighting game comes out, it raises the bar even higher. So Street Fighter 6 and Tekken 8, they kind of have to do everything they can to live up or to beat games like Multiverses, Project L. It kind of looks like free-to-play fighting games is going toe-to-toe with the legacy fighting games. That's kind of what I'm noticing now. But that's going to be it. Thank you all for watching. Check out some of the other things that I have on my channel. Like I said, like and subscribe and share the video. But that's going to be it. I'll see you next time, and bye-bye.